Anchor seal. Let's talk about it. This is Anchor Seal. It's an end grain sealer that I've personally been using on all my bowl blank slabs, logs, everything for almost 2 years now. I really like this stuff. It is basically a mixture of water and wax, to put it as simple as possible. And as it dries, the water evaporates, leaving a nice solid wax film over the end grain of whatever piece you're sealing up. So here I put together a little arrangement of some of the things that I most commonly will use the Anchor Seal on to seal. But keep in mind that as long as your piece of wood has some kind of end grain on it that you can wipe this stuff on, you can use this on anything, and it really does cut down on checking. It actually reduces cracking by 90%. Would you believe that? 90%. So we're going to start off with the slab, the bowl blank. I commonly rip these out of logs. I have a bristle brush here that I like to use to wipe this stuff on. All I do is just brush it just to the end grain. I'll just flip this over and get the other side. So I have this rack shelf kind of situation that I built out of pallet wood, and I just pile up all my wood on here in no particular fashion, just set it up wherever it fits, let that dry, and let it sit and sort of get the air to it. Fun fact, wood dries at the rate of 1 inch of thickness per year. I've had some woods dry quicker or slower than that, but on average, that is the rate. So a lot of pieces have been up here for quite a long time, just seasoning, getting all the moisture out of them. You can use a gauge of some kind, I forget what they call it, to check the moisture content, and that'll come out to a percent form, and there's a certain percent, I'm sure you can look it up on Google, that when it gets there, you know that most of the moisture has left. Another thing you might consider doing is using a scale and just weighing it consistently and tracking the weight, and once it stops losing weight and it just sort of levels out somewhere, you know that most of the moisture has left it and it's probably safe to work with. Or you can just be a hack like me and use green wood anyways and just let it warp. Why not? Moving on to a limb. I don't generally use these, but I do have a few laying around. Same thing, just take the wood grain sealer and brush it to the end grain. This seems a little funny, but another place I'll store wood is just in this random pile in the middle of my garage. You know, all the pieces just get piled up there. I don't see anything wrong with this unless you're a clean freak unlike me and don't like just piles of lumber. Hey, and there's a dog bed there too in case anyone gets tired. Next up we have some of these small turning blanks, and I will also use end grain sealer on these. Might seem a little bit silly, but it does reduce cracking by quite a bit and it is totally worth it. And I like to put those pieces on the middle shelf of my rack. Last but certainly not least, we have the rough turn bowl blanks. This one right here is about as wet as wood will ever come. I quite literally just took down a tree today and rough turned this today, and it needs to be sealed up. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that you guys can't really make out the distinct grain pattern on camera that well, so I'm going to try to mark it with a Sharpie. But the end grain of these pieces is right here. Now on a bowl blank, all I will do is brush it within that small section of it, because the rest of this is technically side grain, and it is totally legal just to let that air dry. But the end grain of bowls do crack just like any other turning stock, so I do brush it on this as well. And I have another bowl here. This one's cherry, and I'll go ahead and do the same thing. So I know this is going to be a conflict of interest for a lot of people, because I know a lot of different people like to use paper bags, newspaper, plastic bags, even kilns to dry their bowls. I personally just prefer to let them air dry. I will seal the end grain, I will stack them. If wood shows any quick signs of cracking and I'm worried about it, or if it's just a beautiful piece of wood, I will pack a bag with shavings and let it dry that way, because that will really slow down the rate that the moisture leaves the wood and give you a higher success rate of it not cracking. Now I would like to say that I have only had maybe less than 10 bowls crack using this method, and it was for other reasons like uneven wall thickness, that type of thing. And there are over 60 bowls down there, so there's quite a high success rate. So yeah, Anchor Seal, the God-given solution to sealing up wood. So those are the methods that I prefer to use while drying my wood. I have used these methods for quite a long time now, and I've never had any problems with it, but I would love to hear anybody else's good ideas about drying wood down in the description. Comments. Down in the comments. I'd like to give a quick word of thanks to Anchor Seal for sponsoring this video, and also thank you for being awesome. And you know how you can be more awesome? Well, visit www.peterturnswood.com or by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Tune back in next Friday for a new video, and I'll see you all then.